All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Commissioner Pearson is running a few minutes late, so he will be joining us momentarily. Can I get the roll call, please?
Mayor Marion,
Here.
Commissioner Arthurleaf,
Here.
Commissioner Warnick.
Here.
Let the record show that all the elected officials, with the exception of Commissioner Pearson, are present.
Can you correct that for me?
Commissioner Pearson.
Commissioner Pearson, here.
My apologies, folks. Sometimes cars don't start in cold.
Let the record be amended to state that all the elected officials are present.
Thank you. Will you rise with me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will you bow your heads with me for a brief prayer, please? Father God, I come to you tonight on behalf of the town of Rising Sun. I ask for your hedge of protection, Lord, over our law enforcement, not only Rising Sun PD, but also all of Cecil County law enforcement. I ask for your guidance and for your help with our town board and our families. I ask that you continue to watch over all of our citizens and be with us as we leave here tonight. Amen. All right. In front of you, you should have a record of the December 13th, 2016 town meeting. Can I get a motion to approve these meeting minutes?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen. All right. We have no public presentations this evening. So under business meeting items, we have Resolution 2017-01, which is the establishment and operation of bank accounts. Town Administrator, do you have that for me?
Yes, I do, Matt. This is basically the same resolution that we adopt every year to reflect changes in the elected body as it relates to having the authorized signatures on bank accounts for the town of Rising Sun. So the standard boilerplate language at the beginning is the same as it has always been, so I'm going to jump into the middle, and give me 1 second and I'll bring it up for the residents to be able to see. So I'm going to jump down to the 5 whereas that says the mayor and commissioners previously adopted resolution 2016-01 in which established the general operation and guidelines for the establishment and maintenance of town safety deposit boxes, bank accounts, investment funds, and other similar financial instruments. And whereas the mayor and commissioners deem it necessary to update and to reaffirm by resolution these procedures, and whereas the mayor and commissioners wish to establish that Mayor Travis Marion, Commissioner August Pearson, and Town Administrator Calvin A. Bonenberger Jr. shall have prior authorization to sign any forms, contracts, or agreements on behalf of the town of Rising Sun for the establishment of safety deposit boxes and general banking and financial services for the town, to include checking and savings accounts, CDs, money markets, and other similar financial and investment instruments, and to perform all general activities associated therewith, to include serving as a required signature on all checks, deposits, withdrawals, and fund transfers as needed, and in accordance to the town's fiscal policies. In addition, the mayor and commissioners wish to establish that Patricia Wagner, serving as the town's accountant/treasurer, will also have prior but limited thereto authority to endorse any checks written on behalf of the town of Rising Sun in order to pay bills that have received prior approval and authorization in accordance to the town's fiscal policies. And be it further resolved that the mayor and commissioners of the town of Rising Sun pass, approved, and adopted this resolution on the 10th day of January 2017.
Thank you, Town Administrator. Could I get a motion to approve Resolution 2017-01?
So moved.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right. Chief, could you grab the citizens' input for me, please? Thank you. Mr. Jackson.
Jeff Jackson, 119 Cooper Avenue. Commissioner Pearson spoke at the last town meeting about residents using social media to complain or voice concerns about the town of Rising Sun. However, I feel in some respects the town is enabling and encouraging folks to do this. The town spends several $1,000s a year to record town meetings and post these on YouTube. So there is no need for a resident to come to a town meeting. You can watch the meeting in the comfort of your own home. Then after the meeting, you can comment on social media, call it armchair quarterbacking or whatever. There is also, I'm going to call it an air of fear, for lack of a better term, that I feel permeates the entire town. I know this because after William Cother and myself came before the town in July 2016 about the debt service being added to the property tax bill, I was inundated with complaints and concerns about the town. Complaints about the police department, sidewalks, water quality, Chester water line, water bill, debt service, the town administrator, elected officials, even the post office and the bank. I told every one of these individuals that they need to go to a town meeting to voice their concerns. Every one had an excuse. I'm scared of the town administrator. I fear retaliation by the police. The mayor will not let me in town hall. The mayor will have me arrested. The mayor will shut off my water. And the ladies of the press will find these somewhat humorous. I don't want to be in a newspaper. I don't want to be on YouTube. I work second shift. But before we laugh at many of the excuses, let us not forget it was not that long ago that Commissioner Pearson himself was threatened with arrest by the mayor of Rising Sun, not the current mayor, of course. Well, Commissioner Pearson tried to put a humorous light on those events at the last meeting. For those of you that weren't around then, at the time it was no laughing matter. The threat was real. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. All right, Mrs. Emsley. All right. Would anyone else like to speak this evening? All right. Thank you. Chief?
Before I start, I would like to say one thing about social media. My door's always open, always has been. I've been here for 9 years. Never retaliated against anyone that I know of. My door's open. You can come and talk to me about me. You can come and talk to me about the conduct of my officers. If there's a problem, we correct it. To say that you fear retaliation, it's not good. You can write me a letter. Make sure you sign it so I can contact you, and we can get to the bottom of what the problem is with the police department. Lately, there have been several people that wonder where the 5 officers that patrol the town of Rising Sun are. In the last 28 days, that's 600 some hours. I have to schedule in vacations, sick leave, holidays, court, training. We already patrol the streets of Rising Sun 50% of that time. Okay, so we're not a full-time police department. We rely on the sheriff's office and the state police to assist us because we do not have the manpower to cover 24 hours. We do a very good job at what we do. In the period of time that we are here, you see we responded to 552 calls for service. Again, we had 39.5 hours of sick leave used, 26.5 hours of vacation, 8 hours of comp time, and 77 hours of holiday used in that period. That does not include court. When the officers make an arrest, they have to appear in court. That takes them off the street. Is that something I like to publicize? No, that's like giving somebody a schedule when your alarm system's not working. So understand, we are here. We're in town. We work when we're in town, but we're not a full-time police department. We do not cover 24 hours a day. So on to the next slide. In our special attention areas, in Valley View, we wrote had 2 vehicle stops and wrote 5 parking citations. Along Main Street, 17 citations, 17 stops for speeding, 8 vehicles were stopped for equipment violations, and 22 other violations were stopped. We made 2 arrests for meth, 1 for heroin, 2 for marijuana, 1 alcohol violation. We investigated a destruction of property and 1 assault. That's along Main Street. Around the rest of the town, for the traffic, Queen Street, as you can see, had 2 speeding stops, 2 equipment violations, and 3 for other violations. Walnut Street has 6 for speed. Mount Street stopped 2 for speed and 2 for other violations. And on the other roads around town, we had 2 for speed, 2 equipment, and 8 other violations. As far as criminal arrests go, when an officer in the town of Rising Sun arrests an individual, that takes them from the street. A lot of these offenses require the person to be taken to Elkton to see a court commissioner, which effectively takes the officer out of Rising Sun. These are the results of what we had last month. 1 violation of probation, 1 possession of heroin, 1 possession of a drug paraphernalia, 2 alcohol violations, 1 for assault, 2 fugitives from other areas, 1, that may say 2, but 1 exposure to an infectious STD, 1 FTA for traffic, 1 protective order violation, 1 child neglect case, 2 thefts from under $100, and 1 possession of magic mushrooms, and again, another Narcan administration for an overdose. That's basically the report I have, unless there's any questions. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chief. Town Administrator, do you have a report this evening?
I just want to let you know that there's still a lot of inquiries regarding possible development and acquisition of land and different business entities that, as I've said before, are kicking the tires on wanting to relocate here. If you remember, back in August, previous Commissioner Lashir and Commissioner Warnick had held a meeting, an impromptu meeting with roughly 14 different representatives of the development community in and around the town of Rising Sun, made up of property owners who have land that they would like to develop and real estate professionals that have that land or have clients that are interested. And there's 2 things that came out of that meeting based upon these people in the field, is that houses that are in reasonable shape, not run down, abandoned. We do have a couple of those in town, but properties that are in relatively good shape are not staying on the market very long, that there is a demand, people wanting to buy those houses in the town of Rising Sun. The other thing that they stressed to us was the push for commercial development, whether it be small mom and pop businesses to some mid-level organizations. If you remember, we did the online poll a couple months ago about what people would like to have in the community. At that point, Dunkin' Donuts was interested in coming into the community, but the local individual who was looking to relocate did not feel that there was enough car traffic. Since that time, as everyone knows by now, Riviera Maya, the Mexican restaurant down here in the strip mall, has purchased the old restaurant at the corner of Ryan and Main Street, and they will be doing some renovations in there to bring that building up to code and to expand upon their restaurant. So we're very excited by that. I also have some properties that it's unfair of me to give the names out now because they are in negotiations and it could compromise their position, but we do have some commercial properties that are that I'm going to be meeting with over the next couple of days that are actually contemplating tearing down their existing buildings and building brand new here. So we have some buildings that over the years have been added to with different commercial entities that come in, and sometimes they can start to look a little bit unsightly and quite frankly become a public safety and maintenance issue here. And so if this one project does go through, it would be nice to see this type of brand new building being built right in the middle of town. And then we also still are moving along with a possible annexation just outside of town that wants to annex into town and develop some commercial properties. And we also have, again, it's unofficial, but we have some large tracts of land that we have been circling for forever, it seems, in terms of developers wanting to develop it. One is going to be entering into a new agreement of sale. It is a residential developer, and they are interested in doing some development on this tract of land. The Planning Commission has been doing their due diligence to get out ahead of this and start to think about the way some of these tracts of land could look, the way they should look. We basically have had 11 years. We've talked about the moratorium that's been in place for the town. We've basically had roughly 11 years to figure out what didn't work back in the last wave of development and what needs to be done going forward. So the Planning Commission is out in front of this, working diligently to try to deal with those applications when they come in proactively. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Town Administrator. All right, moving forward, Historical Preservation Commission, I don't think that they have a report. Is there any old business? Is there any new business? All right. My report's going to be pretty brief, but first I wanted to direct a question to the chief. In the time period that I have been mayor, have I ever asked you to remove an individual, sir?
No, sir.
All right. Have I ever came to you regarding a citizen's comment and asked you to investigate anyone or look into anyone?
No, you have not. If you come to me and ask to investigate anything, it may have been what they're talking about, their complaints about, but not
Right.
the specific individual.
Thank you. What I have run into, and this lady at the post office is a prime example. I had a lady, her name is Doris Smith, and she asked me to, well, she actually told me that the mayor had told her that he would handle something on her property, and when I informed her that I was mayor, she said, no, I wasn't. So I've run into a few people that are actually connecting me with either a different mayor or someone that is older, but it is reality, Ms. Smith. I am actually the mayor, and sometimes people confuse who the mayor is. So if you're confused, it is me, and I welcome anyone's comments that if they want to come out. It is your right as a citizen. We work for you to come out and to voice your concerns, whatever it may be. Due to the fact that we may have a lot of people come out, yes, we do have a time limit. But we are willing to listen to you after town meetings or before town meetings, so you certainly can come and talk to us. It is important because, like I said before, we work for you. And if you want to be involved, there's an election coming up for mayor this November. Get involved if you want to in your community. So moving forward into my report, I wanted to say a big thank you to the Rising Sun Elementary School. They actually had a group of Christmas carolers who came out and sang in front of Town Hall. We obviously haven't had a meeting since past Christmas, so I wanted to say a big thank you to them. I also wanted to say a huge shout out to the Rising Sun High School. They invited me to attend their annual dodgeball match that they're going to have every year, which is the faculty against the students. Believe it or not, the faculty did win, and they didn't pull or injure themselves in any way, so that was excellent for them. So congratulations to them. Myself, Commissioner Warnick, and possibly the town administrator, as well as some other members of the board, will be attending Cecil Night in Annapolis, which is this Thursday at 6 p.m. So we're looking forward to working with our representatives of District 35 to try to further our agenda here in the town of Rising Sun. I'm also going to have a brief conference call with the governor's office before the beginning of the legislative session, just to remind them that Rising Sun is here and we need their help. We need state assistance on a few things. So I'm looking forward to working with them and hopefully getting that. I also wanted to give a huge shout out to Scout Troop 143. This is probably the biggest amount of scouts that we've had here at one single time. So thank you so much for coming out. Hopefully we haven't bored you too much. We try to keep this pretty brief. So you guys came at a good meeting, so it's not going to be too in-depth. So thank you so much for coming out. I also wanted to give a huge shout out to our Public Works crew. With the cold weather, with snow that has come down, they've done an excellent job repairing water leaks and main breaks that we have had. So it always seems like it always happens on the coldest day of the year that they have to get out there and do that. So I just want to say a thank you to Ron and his crew for doing that. Moving forward into commissioner comments, Commissioner Altenreith.
Just a couple things. To the leaders of the Scout Troop, thanks for bringing these gentlemen out tonight and for your part in keeping these scouting organizations going. I just want to remind everybody, something we spoke about a while back, you see a lot of sidewalk work being done down on Main Street. That State Highways is taking care of that, and unfortunately we didn't get enough notification to where we could notify residents and businesses that they'd be coming in here doing this work. Caught us all off guard, so don't think that the town board is fixing some and ignoring others. That's all state highway going on there right now. I think since the last meeting, we had the water main break right out front here, and the Public Works guys knocked that out pretty quickly. And unfortunately, when we get a break right out here in the main street, it shuts off water to the biggest part of the town and really affects our restaurants and hair salons. And I wish there was something different we can do. As we're moving forward with the water project, we are looking at where we can install new valves and shut-offs that can isolate areas without having to shut down the whole town when these things happen. Just all you residents, make sure you got your houses winterized good, all your water valves and stuff outside. Because weather like this, where it got down in the teens, and it's going to jump up near 60 this week, that can really be a problem, especially for underground pipes. So make sure you got all your outside valves and connections for your water hoses and all shut off inside the house, or any places that you can. That's all I have tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Pearson.
Good evening, folks. I apologize again for being late. Just that time of the year. Mr. Jackson, thank you for coming. I appreciate that somebody came out and at least expressed something to us. Okay? And again, I want to reemphasize something the mayor said and the chief of police. In all the years I've been involved with the town, and even when I was on that side, we never had retaliation of the police against any citizen who expressed a difference of opinion with the board. Now, that being said, As a parent, as a grandparent, we sometimes come across incidents that make you really want to just scream at people and say, think. Unfortunately, I am involved in this one incident. On the 24th of December, we had a possible abduction of 2 young children right off of Main Street. My involvement is one of them was my grandson. Now, the problem is it wasn't reported to police till 3 hours later. Imagine the time lapse there, the difficulty that it put our police officers in trying to address the situation. Even though we did have some video and all, it wasn't clear. But had we known about that very promptly, we could have dealt with it much different. As it appears, this may never be a solved case. And trust me, it's not for effort. But we were at such a disadvantage. If something is happening, please report it right away. I mean, a time lapse helps no one, especially if this wasn't, and we have nothing to back this up other than this having right now been a random act. But if it should occur again, then that means that there's a potential problem out there that we not only as a town need to address, but as an area need to address. So I'm asking everybody, if you see something happening, please call. I'd much rather have the police officer come there and say, okay, there's nothing to this, than to have something really happen and we be behind the 8 ball right off the bat. Thank you.
I also wanted to add, Commissioner Pearson, that we will be working on a stranger danger campaign with the chief as well, just to get people more informed about what to do if you are approached by a stranger, if a stranger wants to come up to you and potentially give you something, what to do. Education is so important. And Commissioner Pearson is also working on our law enforcement appreciation breakfast, which is going to be February the 10th at 8 a.m., I believe.
Right here.
And it's going to be right here at Town Hall. So we're looking forward to that and having all our community law enforcement partners come out to it.
Mayor, and this is the 3rd year?
Yeah, this is the 3rd year doing it. So we're very excited, and Commissioner Scully is going to be involved in it as well, along with Commissioner Pearson. It's either 8 or 8:30. I can't remember. Then it's 8:30. So we are excited to have that again this year.
Get the flyer.
Commissioner Warnick?
So, it's comical, Mr. Mayor, that you mentioned that people confuse you. I actually had somebody just the other day that thought I was the mayor. I don't know why people confuse us all the time, but it happens frequently, and I don't think we look that much alike, but anyway. I just wanted to recognize the scouts that came out tonight. The scouts have been an integral part of our community over the last few years, and that, before me even. The pavilion or the stage across the street is a Eagle Scout project, just to give you an example, as well as the part of the boardwalk and the platform that's completed down at the dog park. So any of you looking for Eagle Scout badges, we've got some projects coming up, certainly. So we're, and there's no reason why you can't start working on your Eagle Scout project at 14 years old or 15 even. So you don't have to wait till you're 17, as we, huh? Child labor laws? No, there's. One comment that Commissioner Altenreith and I have gotten even recently is regarding the police department and calling the phone line here. The police line should roll over to their cell phones and such. Logistically, I think that would be a nightmare. Just if you have a concern that you need a police officer, call 911. I know it sounds intuitive for something that you think is not an emergency. If you need an officer, then it's an emergency. They will dispatch a town officer to your house. I don't know if you have any more to, because we get that. all the
Yeah,
time.
You get it, and I'm not sure why it's so confusing. If you were standing in the middle of Baltimore City and needed a police officer, you call 911. If you're in Hartford County, if you need a police officer, you call 911. Dial 911, you'll get a law enforcement officer. I don't care if you think it's a non-emergency or, call. That's the only way you're gonna get an officer in this town to show up. Okay? During the daytime, if you have any other questions or comments, and you call directly into the station, it's a non-emergency, yes, you'll get an answer. But for the most part, the only way you're gonna get a police officer in this town is by dialing 911.
Thank you.
And with that, actually, the parks projects, I'll just wait till next meeting.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank you.
Commissioner Warnick. Mr. Jackson, I forgot to ask during my report, we did confirm that we were able to fix your debt service problem, correct? You
I
did
did-
receive
I
a
did get
refund?
refunded on
Okay,
my spider.
okay, I just wanted to make sure. All right, thank you so much, sir. Moving forward, we have a planning commission meeting, which is January the 23rd at 6:30 PM. We have our next town meeting, which is January the 24th, and then on Martin Luther King Day, Town Hall will be closed as well, which is January the 16th, so that is coming up. Is there any more to come before the board this evening? All right, could I get a motion, go ahead?
We need a motion for
Yeah, could I-
administrative or
No.
executive?
No, either one. Could I get a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
All right.
Motion passes. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.